Well, Plastics, I finally saw Mean Girls, the 2024 adaptation of the musical adaptation of the movie. And, I'm not recording this on a Wednesday, so no, I did not wear pink. Let's talk about Mean Girls. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my movie review for the 2024 edition of Mean Girls. This is based on the Broadway show, which in turn, of course, was based on the movie from about 20 years ago, which was based on a book. So this has a bit of a long-standing tradition, but Tina Fey involved in every step of the way between the original movie and this. She wrote the book for the Broadway show of this, and she reprises her role here as Ms. Norbury. So a lot of Tina Fey fingerprints on this. So before we launch into the specifics, though, and my review, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day I try to post something new. So there's always a lot to check out. And with that in mind, please consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, hit that like button, and comment below. I'm curious to see how this version of Mean Girls grabbed you, because it's gotten definitely some more mixed results, and certain people not even realizing it's a musical version. Certainly the promotion and the marketing materials for the movie kind of put the music part on the back burner, much like they did with the recent Wonka movie. I guess figuring people don't want to go to musicals. I don't know what the thought process is. There's been many successful musicals, in the last 10 years, Greatest Showman, La La Land, but whatever, however they wanted to do it. But yeah, for some reason, people were surprised that this was a musical, I guess. But it was very famously turned into a Broadway show that Tina Fey wrote the book for. So, and this is not the first time that's happened either. Hairspray is probably the one that comes to mind for me. That was a movie in the late 80s, and then they turned it into a Broadway musical, and then that version became another movie in the mid-2000s, and it was a huge hit. But of course, the original Hairspray was not as huge of a movie as the original Mean Girls. It was, popular enough, I guess, but the original Mean Girls was, a runaway success. Everybody talks about it still. It's so quoted. It's got to be one of the most quoted movies of the last 20 years. So, maybe this thing had an uphill climb. I don't know. But for me, the original Mean Girls is in my top 10 of all time. It is one of my favorite movies. I've seen it so many times. But I went into this with a very open mind. Partially because Tina Fey is still involved in it. I think if it was a whole bunch of other people, I'd be like, I'm not sure how I feel about this going in. But I'm like, okay, let's check it out. I think it would be imbecilic to think that this could live up to the original. And I very much am going to try to sort of take the original out of my review and just kind of review this movie for what it is. But look, it's impossible not to compare and contrast a little bit, especially with some of the casting choices and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's going to be some comparing to the original Mean Girls in my review. But for the most part, I want to try and focus on, what works about the new version. And the answer is a lot. I really enjoyed this movie. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not on the fence about it. I thought this was a really, really well done version of the original movie. With any musical, I think there's going to be one or two songs that are like kind of duds. Yeah, I didn't love every single song in this. But let's talk about the casting. So Renee Rapp plays Regina George, and she originated the role on Broadway. I was honestly not that familiar with Renee Rapp. I know now that she is a singer because she was the musical guest this weekend on SNL. And she has even said in interviews that Mean Girls will probably be the last big acting job that she does, because she wants to focus on her music career. However, she is involved also in an HBO program that I think is still on Max, called The Secret Lives of College Girls, and that was created by Mindy Kaling, who, like Tina Fey, is another one of my absolute favorite writer-directors. So, that's kind of where I first saw Renee Rapp. But oh my God, she is outstanding as Regina George. I didn't know until after I watched it that she had originated the role on Broadway, but it makes total sense because she knows this character inside and out. And I love Rachel McAdams. I do. She was a great Regina George, of course. But I think Renee Rapp actually might even be better. She is so good in this movie. It's kind of wild. Now, Katie is played here by Angourie Rice, who I have seen in many things over the years. Most notably, this great movie called The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling. She plays his daughter in that. But she popped up in many movies over the years. I don't know that her singing is maybe up to par with some of these other people, but you also have in the cast. Well, I think I mentioned Tina Fey reprises her role as Miss Norbury, and then Tim Meadows also reprises his role as the principal from the original movie. But you also have Ollie Cravalho, who plays Janice, Katie's friend, who along with their friend Damien, who's played here by, let's see, Jaquel Spivey. I'm unfamiliar with him, but so the two of them conspire with Katie to, kind of ruin Regina George's life as a plastic and a mean girl. And Ollie Cravalho, as the voice of Moana, and I think she's going to do the live action version of Moana as well. But she's done a few other things along the way. And then BB Wood is Gretchen Wieners, and Avantika is Karen, who, again, I think, and I love Amanda Seyfried. She was a great part of that original cast. I think Avantika might actually be better, and I don't really know her from anything. I don't think I've seen her in anything, or if I have, I was unaware of it. So all of that is adding to this. And then for the parents, you have Jenna Fisher from The Office playing Katie's mom, who in this version seems to be a single parent. We did not get that from the original, but an interesting choice there. And then I think the best casting of all is the 1-2 punch. Renee Rapp as Regina, and her mother, which was in the original movie, Amy Poehler, Busy Phillips. Now, Busy Phillips and Tina Fey are already working together because Busy is part of the Girls Five Eva TV show that just moved from Peacock to Netflix. We'll be seeing a third season of that on Netflix. And she looks exactly like Renee Rapp. Like, that casting is so perfect. And I love Busy Phillips. She was, a mean girl in Freaks and Geeks. She played Kim Kelly. And as that series went on, we sort of got to know a little bit more about her backstory and why she's the way she is. But she's, one of the original, high school mean girls in my book. So I love that casting, and just the two of them together, just brilliant casting. Sorry, that's with the casting. But everything else, let's talk about that. I mentioned the music already. Some of the songs are just outstanding, and they're great. And some of them are inlaid with the movie, or with the characters in the movie. And then other times it's characters just breaking out spontaneously into song, like you see in musicals. So there's a little bit of both here. And they have definitely incorporated the social media mixture into the current edition, because there's a lot of TikTok stuff. Personally, I don't know. It really timestamps a movie to do something like that. But at the same time, since this is a remake, you got to figure, okay, the original existed before we had a lot of the stuff that we have now. I guess, we had smartphones, right? But they were pretty primitive. So now, everybody's got a camera at the ready. So we see a lot of that. I'm not sure if they took that as far as they could have. If you're going to kind of tackle that social media stuff, they could have, I think, done more with that. Even maybe made the burn book viral instead of an actual physical book. But, that physical book, I think, does have a stronger presence because it is tangible. It's not just, oh, yeah, I posted that on Snapchat, or whatever. So I have to give it a little bit of credit for keeping it kind of with that basic plot of the actual physical burn book, because they could have easily gone the social media route with it. And I think that really would have dated this version even more to okay, this is definitely late 2010s, early 20s. So I can give them props for that. But I would have, if you're going to use that social media angle a little bit, push it a little further. And that's probably my biggest complaint with the movie, is it doesn't push far enough on the stuff. They've sanitized a couple of the lines that are maybe less PC these days. Instead of social suicide, they said, I forget what they said, but it wasn't social suicide. That to me was all right, maybe. And again, I'm comparing to the original. I know I shouldn't do that, but it was a little bit sanitized. Slightly rude girls, maybe is what you'd call it instead of mean girls. Like, they really, come on, amp it up. I have 5 nephews, and one of them just graduated high school. The others are in middle school now. But I mean, kids are still cruel, everybody. Just because maybe we're behind social media now, we don't say it to people's faces. Like, people are still rude to people, to their face, especially in school. So I would have liked to have seen the mean girlness of it all come out a little bit more. But look, all the basic tenements of the movie are still here. And I've not seen the musical, but I assume, it's obviously pretty much this movie. But, all of the key points are still here. There's a couple of things that go through like a montage. In a song, we will see 3 or 4 scenes from that original movie kind of come together in one song, kind of between singing. We see some dialogue or whatever, rushing that, and that makes sense, because otherwise we would have a 2.5+ hour movie. And I think this is perfect timing at just under 2 hours. It gets all the key points in. I do like that scene in the original where they see the teacher out in public at the mall, but I guess nobody goes to the mall anymore, so kind of makes sense. Maybe we would drop that aspect of it. But Tina Fey, again, look, I love that she is always trying to pack in more jokes. She's punched up, I think, the original script. And look, again, the original movie, it's in my top 10 of all time. It's an A+. But Tina Fey is a perfectionist, and she's like, okay, well, this scene could use one more joke, or maybe we could say this joke this way. And I'm not sure if this ends up being a funnier movie than the original, but maybe as funny. There's a little too many references to the original, like they're really trying to, hey, you like the original, we're gonna put this part in, that didn't maybe necessarily need to be there in some cases. But look, you can't fault it for that either. I had a blast watching this movie, and yes, it got me emotional, just like the original. By the end, I was crying about. Well, if you've never seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but there's just some touching stuff towards the end, where everything kind of comes full circle for the Katie character. I thought this was a very, very well done version of the movie, and not knowing any of the songs, I really enjoyed most of them. Again, there's a couple maybe you could take or leave, but I thought everybody did a great job with that. But my God, Renee Rapp, I mean, what a superstar in the making, I think. It's a shame that she does not want to really do many acting gigs anymore and focus on the music. Her music is fine, and the singing is great, but she is very, very talented in the acting department as well. So hopefully, over the next few years, maybe she will settle into a groove and do like a Selena Gomez thing where she can kind of do both. I don't know, but it would be a shame if she stopped acting after this movie, because I think she is hella talented in that regard. Fetch, if you will. All right, so I leave the 2024 Mean Girls with an A-. It does not quite compared to the original, but how could it? Like, let's be a little bit serious. Objectively, it was never going to be as good as the original, but there are things I think that are improved. So check that out in theaters now. It is Mean Girls. All right, thanks so much for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.